Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 41. Let's jump into things. Okay, so we've got Gordon Jeterson, the Avite commander, has claimed the Throne of the Sun. We've got a host of site searches, nothing with Dark Knowledge, Auspex, Harspex, Voice of Apsu, Augury, Harspex, Gnome Lore, Auspex, Gnome Lore, Dark Knowledge, Voice of Apsu. Nothing with our ground site searches other. So a huge big fail for the remote site searches this turn. Kind of unfortunate. Is what it is though. Okay, so we've got a series of battles. Let's watch this one in Gibernia real quick. So this is a massive force from Pangea, as far as like the White Centaurs go. And you can see, interestingly, there are some Lamias mixed in with this Grieving Dryad. So that's pretty cool. And then we've got a Pan in the middle as well with a Bloodstone and Earth Boots. So kind of gives us a little bit of a sense of what's going on there. So we've got Army of Giants coming out. Maws of the Earth. We've actually got multiple Pans here. Are they both equipped the same way? No, this one has a Thistlemace. So this is Nature Caster. So this is the one doing the Army of Giants spam. And it looks like they're targeting... yeah, they are definitely targeting the White Centaurs with... Spooky. They're even bigger and scarier. So that does actually reduce their killing power by some. When they're not size 3, you can't fit 2 of them into a square. So you don't have 6 attacks per square. Instead, you have just 3 attacks per square. Although they can mesh up with a Reveler. So there's pros and cons to either way. Jesus Christ, that was so fast. Didn't really matter. Before the Centaurs even got into the mix, the Revelers had basically already broken what Kailasa had here. So, easy peasy. Alright. Let's watch the battle between Lanka and Yomi. This is going to be the big fight. So we've got a huge fight with Lanka, all of their different stuff. Bunch of Palankashas, a lot of what are they? Raktapatas or whatever? Yeah, Raktapatas. Some Raksharajas, etc. Pretty cool stuff. Okay. Versus just a really big fucking horde from Yomi. But the horde does also include a bunch of Dionis. We've got 1, 2, 3 Dionis, I believe. A shit ton of Onishugo, and back in the back, Bane, the Master Enchanter, has a Rune Smasher already, and an Owl Quill. All right, let's watch what happens from a big scale. Okay, so we've actually got some Sabbathing going on with Lanka here. The swarm from Yomi just rushes forward, and there's actually, I don't know if this is intentional, but these Yoginis are kind of out in the mix here. I don't think they're gonna make it in time. Oof, oof, oof. Okay, so it looks like both of the Yoginis do survive. They are pretty in dangerous locations, though. So that's not the greatest. Howl has been cast by Devil in the Detail, the Master Enchanter. Is that this one? And that's Bane, the Master Enchanter. So is Lanka's god here as well? Ah, Lanka's god is here as well. Oh, that is sketchy. I did not realize that. Okay, so Devil in the Detail casts Howl. And we get a Bloodlust off. And we've got some air elementals coming in from... Oh, these are Yomi's air elementals. Okay, so got some air elementals coming in. So it looks like the line of Palankashas, sorry, is holding. We got Rakshasa's warriors in the center. Going on. Got howls around the backside. Air elementals. Are these air elementals on... They're on Yomi's side. No, they're on Lanka's side. Okay. Just hacking. Okay, so this is crazy. There's so much that it feels like Lanka has thrown out here. And honestly, it just feels like it just doesn't matter. There's just not enough. There's just too many bodies between all of the Ko-Onis and Ao-Onis and Bakemono shows, right? Like, Lanka is doing a shit ton of damage, but there's just so much to absorb, right? And this Howl's also really not doing anything. Now, there's the chance that the Howl comes in and gets the god, right? In like this type of scenario, which is really unfortunate, right? These wolves obviously had like a chance to get 2 attacks on the Master Enchanter there, and just didn't get anything. Super unfortunate. And it looks like there are just too many units on the field for Lanka to win. Like, this feels crazy. Wow. And that's a pretty harsh loss, because this is their god, and this is most of their force has now been lost against Yomi. Wow, Yomi may very well beat us both. Holy shit. Good on you, Yomi. Superpowered man, woman, person. Still just getting wolves. Like, this Master Enchanter is still getting attacked by wolves. I guess Invulnerable's keeping him alive. That's what it is. Holy shit. Alright, let's go ahead and kick through everything. It ends. Now, it does look like Yomi took a lot of losses there, potentially. But it also looks like a lot of it was routing. So, Lanka loses basically everything. Attacks into Yomi and is defeated, loses the vast majority of his units, doesn't lose 2 Rakshasas, 4 Raktapatas, a Yogini, Master Enchanter. Those probably all retreat back into Yomi. But Yomi actually loses close-ish to half his force, but that still leaves him with over 150 Ko-Onis, close to 100 Bakemono shows, 40 or so Ao-Onis. He still has what, 16 Onishugos. Still has his god. Still has not actually doesn't have very many demon priests. Lost most of those. Lost one demon general. Still has his 3 Dionis. So don't get me wrong. This Yomi lost a lot in this, but he had so much. Like I think that's the thing, is just so many forces to try to deal with. And Lanka, in this kind of like Hail Mary, has lost a crazy amount. So immediately afterwards, right, obviously Yomi is trying to attack into the city. Let's see how it goes. So Yomi comes in with the remnants of this army, which seems like it is going to be more than enough. Wow. So maybe actually the other forces retreated out? This doesn't make much sense. Unless they all died. I can't see any retreat details, so I don't know. I don't know if Lanka got pushed to a different province or what. But it doesn't look like normally they retreat back into the fortification, but I didn't see anybody there, so that's kind of weird. All right, so obviously that fight is a huge fight for our scenario, very big deal. What else do we got? We've got Bad Omens, so Misfortune 3 in in Bell, a large group of people has started to worship a false pretender, so we lose some dominion, gain some unrest. We've done some patrolling, and then our troops in Eal are starting to starve. Even though we have a bag of wine there, it's still not enough. All right, what are we doing this turn? Okay, so take a look over here. Lanka has been pushed out of Yomi. A big deal, but at the same time, that is a whole lot of units that have perished at Lanka's hands. Man, I wish I had some... Wish I had some Oogalus at this point, because I could have some pretty decent thugs. I could try to start pushing it there, but that's going to be real rough. Okay, so what are we doing this turn? Mostly this turn is much the same as last turn, right? We're still pushing with our remote site searching. Probably got another couple turns of that before we're done. We are still producing crystal sorceresses and shamans as we approach scenarios where they're going to be useful, right? As slaves and masters. We are still producing basic units, right? Our Mushushus, our Inki's Chosen, our Gudus. We're actually going to move NC2 back to Perenna, right? The whole point of moving out to Eel was the concept that we wanted to be in position if things went well in Yomi. They did not go well in Yomi, so there's zero reason for us to really push forward. We're going to hold back, head back to Perenna, gather our forces, and probably research up and get ready to make a big concerted push at Yomi. So we'll see how that goes here in just a little while. I say just a little while, a couple turns. So we're recruiting Gudus in a bunch of different places, right? And we are over in Nyotha casting 3 transformations. Yeah, so these transformations are potentially going to be a big deal. Actually, yeah. So we're gonna hope that we get lucky because we are in luck 3 scales. Hopefully that makes the difference. We're gonna try to get these transformations pulled off. Hopefully we get lucky. If we get really lucky, we can make some pretty awesome thugs or super combatants, depending on what we get. But as long as we just get lucky enough to keep the magic paths and the unit intact, then what we typically are going to get is no upkeep cost on the shamans. Which no upkeep cost on these shamans is immediately going to return some investment to it. So that's good. From there, though, we're actually probably going to focus on recruiting shamans in Neotha every turn and basically transforming them as they pop, realistically. So we'll see how that goes. What is the plan? This is a big deal, right? Losing this means that, or Lanka losing this means that we are kind of in a bad situation. So the plan now is going to be to combine forces, right? We have a force of 100 here with a bunch of Mushu. These are still incredibly powerful units. Our situation is still okay. We have another 50 or so, right, back at home with NC4. And between him, the 46 units here in Perenna and the 9 units in Agartha, we have basically, we've got about 200 or so units. I don't know that that is going to be enough. I think it might be, right, if we were to gather together and force march and go now, I think that it might be enough. But at this point, I feel like saving for research is potentially going to be a better plan. We will finish Conjuration 5 this turn, which gives us access to some good elementals. Next would be Alteration 7. And at the current research rate that we are going, it actually won't take us that many turns to get there. And so Alt 7 giving us mass protection is not a requirement. Here's the thing, it's not a requirement, right? We could just Wooden Warriors a bunch and have a similar effect. But Wooden Warriors is actually harder for us to do. Like, we can do, right, we can go out there and we can have, like, a bunch of galas have extra gems. And then we start spamming gems to do Wooden Warriors on people 5 AoE at a time. That's kind of a pain in the ass, and a single mass protection hits the whole field. So I think we might try to go for that and see how it goes. We've got a lot of tools. I'm just worried that we missed our boat. So we're going to focus on researching and gearing up. I want to get a pretty sizable army before I head back in. So my goal is about 300 units. And the reason why I'm aiming for about 300 units is because I think by the time we get there, we'll be close to Alt 7. And we don't have to have Alt 7 before we start marching. We just need to be close to Alt 7 before we need to be able to hit Alt 7 before we can battle. So I think what we're looking at, right, is next turn we finish Conjuration 5, and we're going to go about 150 into Alteration 6. Okay, so that puts us at like 2250, right? 2250 we should make with scaled up research, right? As we begin to move, we should make that in 4 turns, 5 turns maybe. So as we move, right, we can, not next turn, but probably the turn after that, move into Perenna, right? So that's 2 turns from there, and then move into Y'all, and then move into Delka, and so that's 4 turns. So in about 4 turns or 5 turns, right, we should be ready to threaten Yomi's territory again with a good research goal giving us a power boost, plus a whole bunch of, hopefully, a whole bunch of tricks up our sleeves compared to where we were last time. And whether that's because we go water elementals, or whether that's because we go, or it could be a combination, whether we go wave warriors, right? Spamming out wave warriors could be helpful, giving us a whole bunch of stay power, basically. We've got options, and we might actually bring our god into the mix, because it seems like they're all bringing gods in the mix, so why not, right? So we might bring our god in the mix and start doing some shit up there as well. See how that goes. Okay, that's gonna be it for the turn. We're storing up a little bundle of water lenses. We're storing up an endless bag of wine scenario. We're making some horns of valor. Just because I think they're useful items. We're making another water lens. We're continuing to make owl quills every turn. Alright, that's going to be it for the turn. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.